We interrupt the enjoyment of your advertisement viewing with an emergency broadcast stream from the Resistance. It's not necessarily more entertaining than the adverts, but it's what's on. Right now, let's go! If you've arrived at this video by some kind of recommendation that didn't directly involve the services of a human being, then I humbly suggest that you've stumbled into the wrong place. I suggest you do a 360. Ah ha 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 ha! You said 360 like a complete wally instead of 180. What a plunker! Yes, I suggest a 360 because all are welcome here, even you, potential new viewer. There's not any new viewers, I'm just spinning my wheels so I get to say all are welcome unless you're a fascist, a bigot, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, racist, consumerist, capitalist or a Mr. Blobby apologist. Other than that, and maybe some ones I didn't think of, every bloody body peeps is welcome, innit? I was in the post-release meeting with the team after I put out the last video. Oh yeah, what? You thought it was just me doing this? One person couldn't do all this. Of course I've got a team. There's Eddie the editor, Simon script supervisor, he's posh with that double-barrel surname there, and then, of course, there's Beryl Biscuits, who makes the tea and provides the biscuits for the meeting. Now, some of you might be thinking that it might be a bit sexist having a woman in the tea person role, given that traditionally the role itself was called tea lady and not tea person, but in this instance it's not the case. Beryl just happens to like making cups of tea and serving biscuits for our team meeting, and just happens to be a woman. It could have just as easily been Bertie Biscuits, couldn't it? But then we do run into a problem, because that would mean he's stealing Beryl's job, and I don't think that lines up with feminism at all. So anyway, the team decide to let me have it. They stopped beating around the bush, going round the houses, came straight out and said it, no holds barred, no punches pulled, just ripped it right off like a plaster, or a Bob Geldof event if you're American, just came straight at me like a juggernaut freight train on anabolic steroids and mainlining belligerents. They said, one thing you do is just come straight out and say things without making them a joke or doing anything with them other than just bleh, there you go. What we, the team, thought, we really are real, you saw us, was just say the things you want, but put them in a joke format. I don't want to worry anyone, but Larry Carrion Eater here is worried about potential legal repercussions. I took it rather well. There's even survivors, but I also took their advice on board, a bus, where I looked it over and gave it consideration and concluded that I'd give it a go. Knock knock. Who's there? Tell cops to fuck off right to their faces. That's a protestation. Tell cops to fuck off right to their faces. That's a protestation. Who? Tell cops to fuck off right to their faces. That's a protestation. Who just got proclaimed 3 times. I don't much feel like talking about the news again for this episode because current events age comedy material like a nicotine sea salt facial scrub done with a fine grit sandpaper in the unrelenting glow of an overpowered sun lamp. I think, largely, we all have a pretty good idea what is going on, and it's all bad by and large. This week, I have mostly been annoyed by pundits on the internet who get all excited about their candidates and show their new hip fab and trendy campaign videos. I wish they'd realise that when it comes to trying to convince people like me, they might as well be excited young children showing me their latest Pokemon cards. That's nice for you, Sam, that you have a candidate you like. Good for you. Now best eat all your peas, put up your plate, and then make sure you got all your homework done like a good voter. You might think I'm out of the game completely, that I don't keep up with party politics on multiple continents, but you'd be mistaken. Nobody is more invested in playing the game of party politics more than me. Gotta get them all. This last week I was in town driving around just to follow the city bus to see where it might go, and I passed a protest outside the courthouse. You don't expect to see a protest outside a teeny tiny courthouse, and the magnitude of it was astonishing as well. In our little town here of 5 people and a mangy, we think it's a dog, but it might just be some dishevelled cryptid, but a handful of people and perhaps a dog, and yet outside the courthouse an unexpected mass uprising. 2 guys, both with cardboard signs, standing there, waving their signs around, laughing and joking with each other, big smiles on their faces, all happy and jolly. Is it a protest, lads, or is it time to joke around and act the clown shoes? It should be said at this point, I don't know what sort of face one is expected to wear at an organised protest. I mean, am I happy to be there to muck in, or am I unhappy because I shouldn't be there in the first place because the conditions that warrant any kind of protest shouldn't arise? If the situation neither calls for one or the other, then is resting face acceptable, given that most people's resting face make it look as though they want to murder you? Whereas my resting face is lacking in gorm, which is to say, I relax my features and look gormless. What is the correct etiquette for one's facial expression at an organised protest? None. Wear a fucking face covering. Operational security, people. Live it, breathe it, fuck it. These guys didn't have their faces covered. The courthouse stands right opposite the police station. Yeah. The stink of filth is overbearing, but that's Justice, LLC. You don't just want a face covering, you want a goddamn gas mask. But the smell of police didn't seem to bother them at all. Asterisk. I looked at them when I stopped at the intersection, and I briefly thought about parking up and wandering over to ask them why on earth they want him impeached instead of giving him a sound whipping to within an inch of his life and then being shot in the head as a final flourish. But 2 things stopped me. The first thing is that when you're protesting anything with regard to party politics, you aren't really protesting at all, are you? If you're going to protest against the government, then you shouldn't pick and choose which part, such as a party you're protesting, because it's all part of the same system, isn't it? Fools vote and protest because they truly believe that they can move the needle. And they can move it, in the same way Uri Geller can bend spoons with only the power of his mind. Of course, dear viewer, in real life, Uri Geller really does bend spoons with only the power of his mind. And his hands. But I saw this pair of guys, obviously in cahoots. I thought, I wonder what happened here. Did these young lads, in their mid-30s by the look, decide that in lieu of mud snorkelling in the run-off ditch at the local pig farm, that instead of that, they'd prat around outside the courthouse for a while, waving their impeach the president placards around like they're trying to get you into some discount warehouse store by manipulating an oversized arrow sign made from foam board. This way to the store for our $9.95 impeachment special. It would be $9.99, but we got rid of pennies recently, which naturally rounded down all the prices in the supermarkets. That's what happened there when they booted penny out of circulation. All the prices went down a little. We all saw it. Just as I saw these 2 guys larking about outside the courthouse. Remember them from mere moments ago, but I got sidetracked and now I have to remind you. In these second screen times, I have to remind of what's occurring, possibly even remind you that I'm reminding you right now. And what's occurring, dear viewer, is 2 lads with protest signs outside a courthouse, probably friends, though in these interesting times we see all kinds of strange coalitions. And I thought to myself, perhaps I should go and join them. I could pop home, whip up a sign in a jiff, or perhaps in my arts and crafts area, whatever is appropriate, and then I could go there, couldn't I, and join them. Solidarity and all that. Impeach the president. Like I give a fuck. I could be the crowd number that puts the protest over the top, and before you know it, Bob's your uncle and the president is in the slammer. Because it all gets rounded down. We know this from experience, don't we? I was just talking about the phenomenon with the pennies, or lack thereof. I'm inordinately pleased with myself that I can say phenomenon correctly, because it used to be a real tongue twister. How did I learn to say it all properly like? Let's just say the Muppets had this helpful song out back in the day, and the rest is phonetics. But I didn't get out of the car and join them because a thought crossed my mind, and it was this. You know, if I was local law enforcement in these specific times, I might be inclined to cast the net to find potential agitators. One way to do that might be to get a couple of yo-yos to prance about outside the local courthouse like they're at a tailgate party to see whom they might attract. It was a long thought, but I was only at the intersection for a moment, so I just thought it over the speed limit, right in front of the courthouse. Another reason I didn't get out and join them is, what if they really were just having a laugh? I'm not the sort of person to indulge in that type of thing, as my teeny tiny audience well knows. Another reason I didn't get out and join them is, I could probably have beaten them if I'd had a big enough stick. What I did do was turn into a grinning donkey, roll down the window, whereupon I gave them a thumbs up. Then the city bus moved off and I resumed the activity of following it to the final destination. I don't think protests, such as they are, do fuck all, and if you don't like it, then you can join the angry placard-waving mob in my front yard that I don't give a tinker's toss about. But you know what they say, don't they, whoever they are, they say, don't knock it until you've tried it. So I made a sign out of cardboard, like a dirt wizard might do, and I went down to the very courthouse featured in this routine and did my own protest. That's right, I was protesting for cardboard signs. It might be unclear whether I'm for or against them, but hopefully I just cleared it up for you. That's all for this episode. Thanks for watching, and remember, I've started doing a little remember bit on the sign-off now. Good night.